Have you ever heard of a beer flood? A question that might seem like the start of a bad joke, but on the 17th of October 1814 it was no laughing matter. Picture this. The heart of London, the Moo and Company brewery on Tottenham Court Road, home to a towering wooden vat. This vat was filled to the brim with over 135,000 gallons of fermenting porter, a sight to behold. It was a testament to the thriving beer industry of that era. But as with all things, there's a flip side to progress. Beneath the frothy surface of prosperity, a disaster was brewing, one that would transform this bustling brewery into an unlikely stage for catastrophe. On the 17th of October 1814, this vat, brimming with the promise of merry times, instead became the source of a disaster. Without warning, the vat suddenly burst. Imagine the scene. A colossal wooden giant, groaning under the weight of an ocean of fermenting porter, gives way. The rupture triggers a domino effect, each falling vat adding to the unstoppable tide. Over 320,000 gallons of beer break free, a monstrous flood unleashed. Within moments, the brewery is transformed into a chaotic whirlpool. The potent tidal wave of porter doesn't stop there. Like a beast breaking from its chains, it smashes through the brewery walls, cascading into the unsuspecting streets beyond. The surrounding slums, home to many of London's poorest, bear the brunt of the onslaught. Homes, standing moments before, crumble under the force of the deluge. Families caught in the rush are swept away. Basements, once sanctuaries from the hardships of life, are filled to the brim with the dark, swirling brew. The streets became rivers of dark beer, trapping those who couldn't escape fast enough. The flood was catastrophic. With these words, we dive headfirst into the aftermath of this improbable disaster. The tidal wave of beer had no mercy, demolishing houses and sweeping away families. Basements, often a refuge from the harsh realities above ground, were filled to the brim with porter. The streets of London were transformed into dark, frothy rivers, trapping those unable to outrun the unexpected deluge. In the wake of this calamity, 8 souls were lost, not to the drowning one might expect, but to hazards as bizarre as the event itself. Some were crushed under the debris, the remnants of their homes becoming their tombstones. Others met their end through alcohol poisoning, succumbing to the temptation of the free-flowing beer. A stark reminder of the desperate conditions many lived in, where even a disaster could be seen as a chance to escape the gnawing hunger and thirst. This tragedy, as strange as it was, shone a harsh light on the contrasts of London society. The rich brewed and enjoyed their porter, while the poor drowned in it. The flood laid bare the stark disparities between the haves and the have-nots. Even in the face of disaster, some saw opportunity. And while this may have been true, the beer flood of 1814 was a grim reminder that opportunity can often come at a steep and sometimes deadly cost. In the wake of the flood, legal inquiries absolved the brewery of responsibility, declaring the flood an act of God. This might seem like a convenient escape clause for those at the helm of Moo and Company brewery, but let us delve deeper. The disaster, as baffling as it was, sparked a flurry of discussions in the legal and industrial circles of the time. The declaration of the flood as an act of God represented a legal doctrine that exempted parties from liability for events outside human control, such as natural disasters. This ruling was not without controversy, as it highlighted the limitations of the existing safety regulations in the brewing industry and beyond. In response to the public outcry and legal debates, significant changes were set in motion. The incident served as a wake-up call for industries across the board. It underscored the dire need for stringent safety standards and improved industrial practices. The beer flood tragedy spurred the implementation of better safety checks and the reinforcement of structures housing large quantities of liquid. It prompted a shift in the attitudes of industrialists, nudging them towards a greater sense of responsibility for their operations and the public's welfare. The London beer flood, thus, turned out to be more than just an unusual chapter in history. It marked a turning point in how businesses were held accountable for the safety of their operations and the well-being of the public.